Family, the Fed is expected to raise the rates. Let's see if we can figure out some ways to raise our rates of return. Let's check these charts. All right, family, let's take a look at what we got here as far as this rate hike is concerned. All right, so the Fed is expected to raise the rates today, and there's 3/4 of a point is what they're looking at right now. So all that means is that the banks are going to be able to borrow money from the Fed at a higher interest rate. What that means is that the banks will likely pass that interest rate hike down to, guess who? You, me, everybody else in the world who borrows from the bank. And all they're doing is to help fight inflation. As we look at this article right here, they're expected to do that today around 2:30. So how do we prepare for this? I personally don't care about this because this is a cycle that happens in order to control inflation. They have to raise the rates in order to help slow down inflation because there's just too much money in the market. So in order to help pull that money out of the market, they raise the rates. Normal part. This is what we do, all right? More about this article here. All the market today is focused on is one, a rate hike, okay? But more importantly, the market is forward facing, okay? So they're always looking ahead to figure out what is next. And what they'll be looking for today is how many more rate hikes are coming. What will that rate hike likely be? And if today is a huge rate hike, that gives them the power to believe that bigger ones are coming too in order to help control inflation. So with all of that being said, how do we protect ourselves? We do that with the chart. The chart will give us all we need. You may think it's silly, but follow the money, okay? This is what all we're going to do is follow the money. Right now, the futures they're seesawing, okay? S&P futures are around 38,000, we'll just say 3,800. Why do I say 1,000? But anyway, 3,800. We'll just put it around that area right now, okay? And like I said, they're going back and forth, indecisive. And you can see it clearly that we are indecisive. We have a spinning top, which is an indecisive candle. That is just showing that back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. No one knows what they're doing right now. And usually when you have this, they know what they're doing, all right? The side that wins is the side that is dominated, which is the sellers. I'm looking for the market to continue to move lower. Price target for the S&P futures, I believe we will end up touching these lows, and that is because we've drawn our wedge. Our wedge has given us the guidance that if it's broken on the downside, that chances are it will continue to move on that downside. No matter what happens today, the market is likely going to end up selling off if there's any gains or moving lower. One or the other, we're still going to end up moving lower is what I'm looking at. All right, that's the S&P futures. Let's check out the Russell futures. RTY, and that is at about 1,800. So 1,800 is what we're going to round it to. And we have a similar situation here. We talked about this inverted cup and handle, and now we also have an indecisive candle with a doji candle. Indecisive. You don't know who's going to win, but we do because we're watching for what is going on. The price action has given us everything we need to know. So in preparation for whatever is getting said today by 2:30, then we are looking for a move, probably lower, no matter what. All right, that is the Russell. Let's head on over to the Dow, and that is YM. And that's around 30,833. All right, and we're also probably confused here as well. And you can see there is a spinning top candle. That spinning top is indecisive. All right, that is the Dow, and then also we'll check out the Nasdaq, and that's ticker NQ. Excuse me. That's 11,933 is what we're dancing on, and we're also pretty flat as well for the Nasdaq futures. Nasdaq futures, yeah, they all look the same. You see one, you see four. That's what they are. So all of the futures right now indicating some getting ready to throw up somewhere. Okay. Now let's check out the 6 stocks that we cover. Right, that's Apple, it's Amazon, it's Meta Platforms, it's Netflix, it's Tesla, and Alphabet. So those 6 we track, and we want to see what we can get out of the market for those. Now Apple, what's going on here? AAPL 156.90 is the most recent close. We're going to do our top-down analysis once more. The weekly is showing us that we have a pretty good bounce right now. As far as everything is concerned, we're looking at is going to either try to go back up to this 160 area, or if the market does continue to tank, we pull back and move towards the lows of this candle, which is around at 150 area. That's the weekly. Let's check out the daily. The daily is showing us similar action here. We've got a move higher that has happened before with this 20-day moving average, and it got shut down. Now we've got moves higher, lower lows, moves higher, lower lows. If the pattern continues, we see moves higher, that 20-day moving average goes slap and slaps it right back down, and we hit either newer lows or we retest the lows that we have around that 150 area. So let's move on over to Amazon, and that is ticker A. Come on, let's get into the box here. AMZN. Amazon closed at 122.19. All right, and it's also pretty flat in the aftermarket, hovering around that 122 area. So we talked about this inverted cup and handle once more. We've got our handle, and all of a sudden we are likely going to move lower to retest 110 is what I'm looking at. We've got an indecisive candle as it is right now for the week with a doji. That doji can turn into something else, or it can just stay where it is. One or the other. We want to see how that develops by the end of the week. That's the weekly. Let's check out the daily. The daily is showing us that we've recently closed a gap, and we've had another gap within that gap. This bearish window here is giving us a signal that price is wanting to fall. We've tried to hit it, and it got rejected. I'm looking for this 120 area to eventually break, and once we do, it may gain some steam and move fast in order to retest that 115, right around there, 115 or so, but ultimately move lower. That's what I'm looking at for Amazon. Now let's check out what we have going on for Meta. That's META. META closed at 146.09. It's recently made a little bit of a bounce. Let's see how well of a bounce it is, right? Huge red candle. As I said, if I were looking to be a buyer, I still think this is a good entry, but prepare because it could move lower. And we know what our next target is. That's all we need to know. What do you think? Are you bullish or bearish on Meta? I think that the bulls will eventually take the reins on this because it has been pretty low. But as you can see, that doesn't matter. We've got red candles galore all over the place. There's a sprinkle of green somewhere, but every time that green shows up, red shows right back up behind it. So for an entry, not bad. For a long-term investment, continue the dollar cost average is what I would do in this situation. That's the weekly. Let's look at the daily. The daily is showing us very similar price action. Chop, chop, chop back and forth. And we've recently hit a new low at 144.29, and we are still hanging around there. What is that going to mean? We're likely going to continue to tiptoe and then probably move lower. But we know what the price targets are, so we want to buy at the best levels possible. That's how you're going to end up gaining your riches in this recession. It's going to be the birth of more millionaires as that wealth transfer comes from others to the people who know what they're doing. Let's make sure that we are the people who know what we are doing. That's Meta. Let's check out one of my favorites, Netflix, as NFLX. And that closed at 142.85. The weekly is showing that we recently attempted to move higher. So congratulations, bulls, for pushing it to 250. Do you have the strength to take it above? That is all that matters in this situation, because if we're not above 250, we're likely going to get slapped right back down once more and probably retest 220. We've been in that range for some time. That range will produce the next move. What is that next move? We need to see once we get out of it. We're on the upper end of it right now. Can we get back to 250? Let's see. Right now we got rejected, and that rejection is giving us a spinning top candle on the weekly. Let's check out what's happening on the daily to see if we can get a closer look. All right. Ooh. That right there is a shooting star candle, and that is showing that they don't have what it takes. The shooting star candle can often be a confusing candle because it is a signal of a bearish move. All right. But with anything in the technical world, you need confirmation. You need that confirmation in order to figure out, is it true? So we'll have the confirmation by end of day today, because yesterday's candle was a shooting star. If it closes below that, then we're likely going to see that rejection at that 250 level, and we can anticipate a move lower to likely that 220 area. So that's Netflix. Let's take a look at Google, or Alphabet as we like to call it, GOOGL. Closed at 101.14. Let's go to our weekly and zoom in. All right, so we bounced off of our $100 target, which is good. We want that support to hold up. I think that is also a great entry. So if you're bullish on Alphabet, which I think everybody in the world should be because they control quite a bit, then this is a great entry. If this does fall, then we know that 85 to 90 area is going to be our next best purchase to help us grow our wealth in this coming recession. That's the weekly. Let's take a look at the daily. The daily is showing us that move lower has happened, and we're going to zoom in. We hit $100.52. All right, so remember the target was 100. That is pretty accurate there. This is a great entry. Once again, great entry in order to get into it. I wouldn't put all money in. Reserve your capital so you can have more if prices continue to move lower. That is Google. Lastly, let's check out what everybody probably loves to talk about, which is Tesla. Tesla closed at 308.73. I have said many times that around that 300 area, I would be selling. I don't own Tesla currently because I'm looking to get it at a better price. I think 300 is showing clearly that it is a sell level, and I think it will eventually move back below 300. Why? The chart is showing me plenty of times when it's around 300 that it can likely move lower, and I expect the same to probably happen. So let's take a look at the daily to see if we can get any other insight too. Insight here is showing us once again, whoa, that was huge. All right, so insight here is showing us, a little bit of a different tale, honestly. As I've been bearish on this, as I look at it now, we've got quite the activity here with our 50-day showing some support here. All three of the moving averages are starting to show some type of move, and they're joining together. So we'll see if the bulls have what it takes in order to keep it above 300. Chart shows that anytime it's above 300, it is very volatile. There's a lot of activity going on. I don't like that. I don't like volatility like that. I like stability. I think it's more stable below 300. I eventually would like to pick up some once it gets below that. So that's it. We've got all of our futures showing that it's a seesaw right now before the Fed meeting today. I anticipate the market to probably remain somewhat flat before they do that announcement. and then all of a sudden everything may go haywire around 2:30. That's what usually happens. So that's how you prepare today. All right, enough about the market. Let's talk about you. How you doing? What do you have in your portfolio? Is there any stocks that you would like me to review? If so, leave it in the comments. Make sure you leave that in the comments. Hit me up at any point in time. Give me that like. I appreciate it. And also, if it's your first time here and you made it this far, hit the subscribe button. The subscribe button will let you get all of the content as I produce on a weekly basis. So make sure you take care of yourself. Health is wealth. You know what? I'm very interested in what you may be doing for fitness too. As you can see, I have my gym behind me. Right after this, I'll be right in there doing what I need to do to take care of myself. What are you doing to take care of yourself? Share that as well, because that's a conversation we really need to have. The money is good. I love this, but I want you to love you. All right, that's the biggest thing. We got a lot of things out there always trying to beat us down, making us feel a little bit lower about ourselves. But love yourself, all right? Take care of yourself. There's something that you're doing, share it. You never know who you'll impact, all right? Take care of yourself. Health is wealth, and we'll check you next time, all right? Peace.